So I'm gonna start, and I prepared pretty heavily for this meeting.
Okay.
And there's no animosity at all. And I woke up this morning with a panic attack. I have anxiety. And it wasn't about you in particular. I think for me it was about what you represent and what I feel as a citizen of the country. I'm a mom. Mm-hmm. I have 2 children. Mm-hmm. You're a dad.
I am.
I didn't know my purpose until I had children. I look at my children and want to give them everything.
Sure.
All the greatest possibilities. I look at my children and I'm terrified. I don't know how to keep my children safe. Mm-hmm. And it's terrifying. And I think parents across the country feel this way. And I know you're a smart man, and I know that there are things, I know. And I know that there are things that we differ on. And I know that you're smart enough to know the perception of what is out there about you. And I know that you're smart enough to know where that comes from. And for many people in this country, your stance has made you almost like this caricature of a villain. Mm-hmm. And that's why this meeting was so important for me, because I wanted to be able to look at you in the eye and know that you're really a human with a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. I think there are moments in all of our lives where we learn how to lead. And it could be in any situation, in a family, lead in friendships. I think the difference between learning how to lead and being a leader is something that we're all born with. And that something is courage. And I'm asking you, and I'm begging you to have the courage to lead, because I think you could be an instrumental part of this solution for this country. And the fear that we're feeling as parents, the not knowing where to go to feel safe because it's everywhere now. And so having courage means being okay with making enemies. You know what having courage means? It's being okay to evolve and see that things are different now than they were when you first came into your power and your strength. Things are different now. Times are different. We can't hold on to where we were. This is an epidemic. And I know this is hard, and just know I appreciate this. I really do. It means so much to me that you're here. And so it also means a lot to me that you've let me have this moment right now to say my piece. My biggest fear is actually his reality. And thank you for giving the opportunity to Fred to come and look you in the eye and tell you his story. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And that's, not only is this such a huge opportunity to be able to tell you my biggest fears, you know more about me than my therapist right now, but also to be able to hopefully set an example that this is something that can be And we don't have to ever see eye to eye on certain issues. I get it. But I would guarantee you, if more people had conversations like this, we'd realize that we're not as far apart.
Yeah.
I have to believe in my heart that you know it is not okay for babies to have shrapnel in their chest.
It's horrifying.
I know it.
It is horrifying.
I know it. Or a 14-year-old girl dying. I have to know that you are not the villain. Because we look at things right now in a very narrative way. We're always looking for that viral moment. And so I'm so appreciative. What is the mental illness of this generation that we're creating that will be cyclical because of the fear that our kids have to deal with every day going to school, because of the trauma of even having to do a lockdown drill? It's traumatic for these children.
Of course.
It invokes anxiety, worry. Are we cyclically creating more mental illness in this country based on that fear? It's a really probable thing. When we're talking about mental illness and treating the mental, and let's call it mental health, we also have to be aware of what we're creating now that will be future people that get their hands on an AR-15 potentially. Can I ask you a question? Do we have any idea of the fiscal impact of these mass shootings in these states? Is tourism down in Texas? Is tourism down in Florida? Is there any indication that economically that these mass shootings are hurting?
Well, yes.
Here's the thing, is that we have a serious problem, and none of the politicizing of the solution is going to help, and none of the rhetoric around the guns, the Second Amendment is going to help the root of this problem, right? Which is people are dying, children are dying. We're in a country that's very fearful. We have to try everything and figure out what works. Isn't that worth it? Isn't it worth it?
So Ms. Milano, yes,
You can call me Alyssa.
Okay, and you're welcome to call me Ted.
Or Phoebe.
Are your sisters here?
They're outside. And when you said that she was not an anomaly, the mass shootings using assault weapons is also not an anomaly.
Not anymore.
And it's happening far too often. And you have your I just want to read you something.
Okay, sure.
I do not believe in taking away the right of the citizen for sporting, for hunting, and so forth, or for home defense. But I do believe that a machine gun, an AK-47, is not a sporting weapon or needed for defense of a home. Ronald Reagan.
Do
you think, and this is an honest question because I'm not an insider, bills like the Veterans Child Care Act, which passed through the House and has died in the Senate, that's not worth bringing up for a vote? You don't think that's political?
So I don't know that specific piece of legislation. I'm happy to have our team go and look at that. I mean,
it basically
there
says
are thousands of bills that are introduced on both sides. So
that
I don't.
when veterans are in the hospital for a long stay, that there should be child care provided. Things are not progressing, even that should be bipartisan. They should be nonpartisan, and they're not progressing. And when the public, and this is what I want to leave you with. We're all, and you can tell me what you want to leave me with. But when the public sees this divide, we feel helpless, and we want our government to work for us, for the people. And it creates hostility between the parties and how our political ideology and how we view the other side. So what I want to leave you with, when you send out social media tweets, and I know that you are playing to your audience, I want you to be mindful of not creating more divide. Mm-hmm. That's all I want you to do, and just be mindful that this has to function. We have to do something. We cannot not do anything anymore. Too many people are dying. And I'm also going to say, I will give the Democrats as much hell about working together, because I don't, the thing that's been so frustrating for me is having, that we should celebrate bipartisanship. That's how it's supposed to work.
Absolutely.
We need to keep working towards that, even if it's not working there right now. And I know it's so easy to get wrapped up. Trust me. Thank you. I'm gonna have.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
The gutter without giving in to the viciousness of the moment right now, and both sides are guilty of that.
So can we also stop the caricatures?
And can we also stop making videos with bacon wrapped around an AR-15?
Look,
Because you're talking about villains and snarkiness. That's pretty snarky.